Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a new recommendation from federal lawmakers is trying to keep experienced pilots in the cockpit for a longer period of time. And we're learning new details about a potential deal to keep TikTok available in the United States.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday to you, Mountain family. I'm Amelia Lee here on this September 24th at 6 o'clock this morning. And it is a rainy start to our day. Megan, you can attest to that. I mean, it was raining when I got out of bed, so I just have to assume it was when you did too.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't in Perry County when I left, so I was still nice and dry on my drive here. But definitely by the time I got to the studio, the rain started picking up here in Hazard. So in terms of what we're seeing all across the region, rain is still in that forecast. Live pinpoint Doppler radar will show you rain and storm activity. Seeing a pop-up shower as we travel into portions of Leslie and Perry County. A little bit of activity for our Virginia counties, but the main thing we'll be watching this morning is this storm system to our southwest. Right now seeing some storm activity in Monticello and just south of McCreary County. We'll continue to watch that throughout the day. Currently we'll sit in the mid to upper 60s, but by the time we head to the afternoon, the upper 70s and low 80s. Amelia.
Officials say children in Tennessee are being exploited at an alarming rate. Right now, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says Tennessee is investigating more than 22,000 cases involving child exploitation. It's a 140% increase compared to 2020. On average, TBI's Cybercrime and Digital Evidence Unit says they're receiving 100 cases a month, which 4 agents are assigned to investigate.
It's so important that we continue that work even as the increase comes and even as we face budget challenges, is because we stand as the only people who can get in between a sexual predator and a child.
The TBI says they hope to increase staffing levels and get legislation passed in an effort to continue to meet that demand. Well, the man accused of trying to assassinate President Donald Trump at his Florida golf course last year was found guilty yesterday. After just 2 hours of deliberations, the jury found Ryan Routh guilty on all 5 charges. Routh represented himself in court and tried to stab himself in the neck with a pen after that verdict was read. Officers were able to intervene and stop him. Routh, he now faces life in prison, and that sentencing is scheduled for December 18th. This morning, President Donald Trump is back at the White House after making headlines at the United Nations Tuesday. In his speech to world leaders, the president criticized the UN, questioned climate change, and touted what he considered successors of his second term. The president also made a potentially game-change shift on Russia's war in Ukraine. CBS's Jared Hill has the latest.
At the United Nations,
it could be that Russia's a paper tiger.
President Trump with a change in stance on a key aspect of Russia's war in Ukraine. Posting on social media, Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form.
Let them get their land back.
The comments following a meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky were a significant reversal after many times President Trump argued Russia will likely get to keep territory it seized over the past 3.5 years.
We expect America's actions to push Russia toward peace. Moscow fears America and always pays attention to it.
In President Trump's address to the UN General Assembly, he touted American might.
America is respected again like it has never been respected before.
He also criticized the body for not helping to end global conflicts.
All they seem to do is write a really strongly worded letter and then never follow that letter up.
And the president called human-influenced climate change a con job, green energy a scam, and warned Europe to be tougher on immigration.
You need strong borders and traditional energy sources if you are going to be great again.
President Trump also calling on European countries to stop buying Russian oil, an effort to end the conflict he told leaders he thought resolving would be the easiest. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
The president also said NATO member countries should shoot down Russian aircrafts that enter their airspace and that the UN has the potential to do so much. Well, some of the country's biggest news outlets are pushing back on new rules that would restrict reporting at the Pentagon. According to the new policy, beat reporters with a Pentagon credential will have to sign a pledge not to obtain or use unauthorized material. The New York Times, Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal have all issued statements criticizing the policy. A new recommendation from federal lawmakers is trying to keep experienced pilots in the cockpit for a longer period of time. Senate Transportation Committee Chair Ted Cruz is urging the White House to support raising the international retirement age for pilots from 65 to 67. Some aviation unions strongly oppose the move, citing health declines and a lack of research on older pilots. Well, we are learning new details about a potential deal to keep TikTok available in the U.S. A senior White House official says Oracle will control TikTok's algorithm for U.S. users after a deal to sell the app is made. A U.S. law is threatening to ban the app if TikTok Chinese parent company ByteDance does not give up control of the app. U.S. lawmakers cited national security concerns for the law. Last night, Jimmy Kimmel made an emotional return to his namesake late-night TV show. During his monologue, the comedian said there was nothing funny about the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk and that he did not intend to blame any groups for the shooting. Kimmel also called efforts to cancel his show over his beliefs un-American.
It was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man.
Kimmel's suspension sparked days of protests and public outcry, including calls to boycott Disney. Last night, Kimmel thanked the network for restoring the show, adding that he disagreed with the suspension and that he and the network had lots of discussions in the days leading up to his return. Well, time is running out to get one of those big electric vehicle tax credits. Under President Donald Trump's spending and tax package, the $7,500 federal tax credit for EV buyers ends October 1st. Industry insiders predict that losing the tax credit will likely cause a sharp drop in sales. However, a Cox Automotive survey found most buyers who want an EV will still get one, even without the credit. The All-American 2025 class of astronaut candidates were introduced Monday during a ceremony at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. The group was selected from a pool of more than 8,000 applicants. 7 of them have current or former military experience, and a majority have an educational background in engineering. And for the first time ever, there are more women than men. And one of those women is from Kentucky. Lieutenant Commander Erin Overcash is one of 10 new astronauts chosen. Overcash is a North Oldham High School graduate from Goshen. One highlight in her skill set, she's an experienced FA-18E pilot, having already logged more than 1,300 flight hours inside 20 different aircraft.
I ended up submitting my application to NASA kind of on a whim, you know, like everyone who's a test pilot in the military or otherwise applies to be an astronaut. I got the call in July, and it's a really hard secret to keep. But, you know, all of a sudden it's like your life changes, and wouldn't be here alone, you know. Great support system.
She wasted little time showing her gratitude for her support system back home. Commander Overcash's astronaut training starts next week. Well, first of its kind regional mental health crisis center is coming to Kentucky. The new crisis intake center will be in Bowling Green. Leaders broke ground on Monday. They say it'll shift people away from overcrowded jails and emergency rooms. When complete, it'll offer 24/7 triage, crisis stabilization, and observation spaces, all for free.
For the individual that's just suffering through a crisis caused by either mental health or drug or alcohol, we need to get that individual help. Warehousing them in a jail has proven not to be successful. These are good people. They just have an addiction problem. They have a mental health problem. They have families just like you and I do. They deserve an opportunity to get better.
The state allocated $20 million to the center. Local governments are committing an additional $13 million.
We're looking at warm temperatures as you're heading out the door this morning, a mixture of the mid to upper 60s, and for some folks, that 70-degree mark, which is definitely not what you'd expect for this time of year or this time of day. Now, as we head into the afternoon, we'll continue to see a little bit of warmth with the main range in the upper 70s and low 80s. Now, As we go into the rest of your week, we're going to start seeing temperatures cooling down. That's because the rain that will be pushing through both today and tomorrow. Looking at chances for slightly cooler than average temperatures for Thursday through your Sunday. Now, in terms of what we're seeing right now, a little bit of some scattered shower activity as you're going towards portions of Estill and Powell County, as well as Perry County extending into Letcher County. Now, the main line that we're going to be watching from now until later this afternoon is in our southwestern counties, and that will be in portions of Wayne County, at Pulaski County, McCreary County, Campbell, and Claiborne County, Tennessee. Amelia.
Thanks, Megan, and thank you so much for joining us on Mountain News this morning at 6:10. The iPhone crash detection feature is credited for helping a volunteer fire department find 2 people who rolled their UTV down a cliff.